What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. It's Conference Championship Week. Momentarily, I'll be joined by one of the most accurate rankers in the game, the odds maker, Sean Koerner. We're going to get to our player projections for Conference Championship Week. Apologies if I sound a little funny. I am traveling. Don't have my usual mic, so that's that. But got to get the pod out, so we're going to get to it. Quick reminder, all of our fantasy football content available right now over at fantasylabs.com. Plus, Fantasy Labs' new feature, Pick Labs, is live. Pick Labs lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you from edges and win rates to value. It's a clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sports books and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. And when you see something you like, Pick Labs builds the bet slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice for a limited time. You can get free access by signing up for a Fantasy Labs DFS subscription. Just visit fantasylabs.com/pricing and use code FLEX20, that's FLEX20, to get $20 off your first payment. That's code FLEX20 for $20 off at fantasylabs.com/pricing. In today's episode, we're going to dive into our top 5 at each position, though kind of hard at quarterback, but we'll see. And discuss guys we're high and low on. We'll get to some player props as well. But first, Koerner, let's get to the Cardio Kings for the divisional round. And, of course, those are the guys with no targets, the most routes with no targets.
Yeah, I mean, so much to talk about. Let's talk about the Cardio Kings. For wide receiver, it was Troy Franklin with 9 routes, 0 targets, and tight end. The Cardio King of the week was AJ Barner, who I was low on, who had the under 32.5 receiving yards, ran 15 routes, and didn't draw a single target. So that was the easiest cash of the week. But I went 6-6 on the weekend. So, I just paid for juice basically. And 5 of my 6 losses lost by a half and or on the final play of the game, including Caleb Williams, that 4th down where he chucked it up, 26 yards behind the line of scrimmage. If he just incompletes that pass, I cash my under 19.5 completions, but he completes it for the touchdown to force the game to overtime and complete 4 more passes. So just an absolutely insane weekend of close beats for me. But I did luck out on the Pat Bryant. Oh my god!
Oh my god, that was so crazy. I was like, yo, wasn't Koerner on the under? He's catching everything. Yeah. I think he caught 3 balls on 3 routes, and on the third one, he's about to get his 30 yard, and he just collapsed.
Yeah, he had,
just collapsed.
I think he got. I think 3 catches for 32 yards on the first 4 plays of the game, and then unfortunately he gets that concussion. We'll talk about that later. But I lucked out on that. People are giving me shit on Twitter, you can't even count that. But can I not count the ones that lost by the last play of the game, please, too? But just a wild, fun weekend, and this weekend should be even better.
Yeah, I mean, you said you had 5 that lost on the last play. So, yeah, because I had a lot of those. So I had Christian McCaffrey over 5.5 receptions on what would have been his 6th catch. It gets broken up and he gets the stinger, and he comes back into the game but doesn't do anything. But Stuck and I had Brandon Cooks under 2.5 receptions, and so that interception saved us.
Yeah.
Just so many, and so many of those close calls. Yeah. And I think, did Kyron Williams get hurt in overtime? Because it seemed like Corum was playing a lot in the final period, but I don't know if Kyron looked like he limped off at one point. I haven't seen anything about it, but I was just wondering because Corum played a lot of his snaps in overtime, so it was kind of weird. Kyron was getting more snaps than I think we both thought. And then Corum kind of caught up a little bit, but I don't know if Kyron got banged up or what. So we got to watch out for that this week. But all right, let's get into quarterback top 5. I guess you could just give your top 4 and then your favorite if you had to pick a backup. I guess who do you got?
Oh no, top 5 is Drake May, Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, Jared Stidham.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I'll do it. I'll go May, Stafford, Darnold, Stidham, Drew Lock, and then Sam Ellinger would be my number 6.
Yeah,
because Darnold he's going to take a shot, a Toradol shot. But remember, he got to come out of that game super early last week, so there's a chance that he has to kind of gut it out a little later into the game this week. So I think you might end up, or they could just blow him out, and you could see Locke again. So and then right. I mean, with the Broncos, probably not going to see any Ellinger, but Sean Payton with his mix and matching personnel, and just he might have like a weird run play or two designed for him or something like that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think Drew Lock's probably the most likely backup to get in the game. Who are you high on?
Yeah, so this section this week is just we get to talk about each starting quarterback, basically. So the guy I'm high on is Jared Stidham. I have him ranked dead last as my QB4. 3.5 points. I'll get to that. 3.5 points lower than the next quarterback. But this isn't really a fantasy sit-start show anymore, at least not, this week. But I think the overall public is probably a bit too low on Stidham because, the spread for this game moved, 6-7 points after we all found out after the game that Nick suffered a season-ending injury. And, Stidham is for sure a drop-off. I'm not going to deny that, but probably not, 6 to 7 points drop-off over Nick's. This is a Denver team that has an elite defense, elite, offensive line. And Bo Nix has been good at times, but I think Stidham's a pretty good, backup quarterback. He started 4 games since 2022, and his EPA per dropback is just a shade over 0. So if you put that against, the 34 qualified quarterbacks this season, he'd rank 17th. And for what it's worth, if you're watching on preseason, he was lighting it up. I bet against on one of the games, and I regretted it instantly. He just looked really good. But he had just under an 80% completion rate, which is the 4th highest out of 81 quarterbacks in preseason. Just a shade under 10 yards per attempt, which is 2nd highest. His PFF grade was 4th. His big time throw rate was 2nd. So he looked really good in preseason, and this is the 3rd year he's been on the Broncos, so he knows the system. He's more than capable of stepping in. And he has some sneaky rushing upside too if you want. So I think while he is, my last ranked quarterback of the week, I think just in general, the public's probably overlooking him this week and maybe just overreacting to, the Broncos are just a lost cause now with Nick's out. I think they'll keep this close. And yeah, I think that the line move is probably too much with the, the Pats all the way up to -5 now.
Yeah, the line move is a little ridiculous. But the one thing about Nick's that it really does hurt is that Stidham does have some rushing upside, but not compared to Nick's. And remember, Patriots don't give up anything on the ground. We talked about this last week. Woody Marks 14 for 17. So they're really going to need the quarterback to step. They've given up 61 yards on 31 carries to backs in the playoffs. So that would be where I think Nick's probably does. He probably does get an extra point to the spread, but still, a 6-7 point drop off is still egregious. But I did kind of I was oh, this should be a 3-point spread, and then I was like, wait, no, it's that rush. They are going to miss that rushing of Knicks, especially because they didn't even want to run against the Bills. They were just throwing the ball all crazy against Buffalo. So that tells me that Sean Payton doesn't really. And maybe if Dobbins is back, that'll change it a little bit. But yeah, that I think that's where you really miss him is with that quarterback run game, which is what got Knicks hurt. So I guess that's tough. But I'm high on Drake May in the same game. So yeah, I think we are going to talk about all 4 quarterbacks. My thing with May is, there's 4 good defenses here. May might be going against the best one, but maybe at this point, Seattle's probably a better defense than Denver, but the second best he's going against. However, look what Denver allowed to Josh Allen last week, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Most of Allen's turnovers were, either kind of fluky or just his own fault. So, Drake May probably will commit some turnovers. He's been sloppy with the ball in the playoffs as well, but he strikes me as a guy that could overcome it more than any of these other quarterbacks because he's got the most rushing upside, and we saw him still put up some good passing numbers, or some decent passing numbers at least, against that Houston defense last week, where he threw that crazy touchdown to Kayshon Boutte, had one to Diggs, had one to Douglas. So 3 touchdowns on Houston's pretty impressive. And Denver gave up 3 to Allen with some rushing, almost 300 yards. So I think Drake May, he could kind of run away with it here if like the Seahawks and Rams have a lower scoring game. And Stidham could actually be the QB2 if it's like a shootout in this game. So it is a kind of, there is some correlation there, but yeah, I think Drake May, he's the guy that really kind of stands out for me on this slate ahead of everybody else. Who are you low on?
Yeah, I'm low on Matthew Stafford. I actually have him like basically tied with Sam Darnold, which isn't common. Usually, I have Stafford, well inside my top 10. This week he's my QB3, but there's only 4 quarterbacks. But this is a brutal matchup, kind of what you alluded to, at Seattle. Now, he just went to Seattle a few weeks ago, back in week 16, threw for 457 yards and 3 touchdowns. So if there's anybody that can overcome this matchup, it's Stafford. But I have him right around a coin flip to throw for 2+ touchdowns, which is definitely way lower than usual for him, the passing touchdown leader this season. And that's kind of where the market has him as well. And the Seahawks secondary is fully healthy for, I think, the 3rd or 4th game this season. One of those safeties or cornerback has been out, pretty much all season. So, the secondary is fully intact. This is a brutal matchup. And I don't know what happened last week. I've been talking to Stuckey about it on the side, but like trying to figure out why the Rams kind of went away from the heavy tight end sets last week, and what they're going to do this week. But either way, I'm just a bit lower on Stafford than usual, but going to be fascinating to see, how the Rams try to attack this defense.
I think it's just a matter of, I don't think McVay ever really intended to go like that heavy 1-3. It was just kind of a way to, like with Devontae Adams out. I think I'm guessing that was kind of the main. Yeah. No, he started it a little before that though. So I don't. But it really kicked into high gear.
I think.
Yeah. It started when Puka was out.
Weren't they like, it was like an international game, and I was wondering how they would handle it, and they just went ultra tight end heavy, and McVay was like, oh, this is kind of working, and then when Devontae went out, they went, but with Puka and Devontae both fully healthy now, they're kind of going away from it. So I think your angle might be right, but it's kind of a way to overcome one of the 2 stud wide receivers being out.
And they've had other guys out too, like Whittington missed time, Tutu Atwell missed time. Oh, he was a scratch last week, but it's also, I kind of broke it down. I was looking at just like their splits by like game situation, and it really they've been in close games. So they've been in, like, they had to do a come from behind drive to win against Carolina, and then they were tied with the Bears most of that game. So they've been in more 2-minute than usual. They've been in more hurry up than usual, all that kind of stuff. More like not as many early down plays because they're kind of been struggling a little bit at times. So I think that's all kind of contributing to it. But yeah, with Devontae, they've been about 2.6 wide receivers per drop back, which is, with the 1-3 heavy, they were like at 2.0 wide receivers per drop back. So it has been a pretty big increase. I'm low on Darnold, and it's not like, I like the Seahawks in this game, but Darnold threw 6 interceptions on 78 attempts against the Rams this year. And remember, this is that Chris Shula defense that gave him fits in the playoffs again last year when he was with the Vikings as well. So it's, he did have that comeback aided by, I think it was a special teams touchdown and some Rams miscues, but still he has been more mistake prone in this matchup versus pretty much any other, especially against Shula, and he's averaging just 7 yards an attempt against the Rams this season in the 2 matchups versus 8.5 for the season just total. So I do think this could be a lower scoring game. You mentioned Stafford did have a big game last time, but this Seattle's defense is so good, so it might just not turn into a shootout, and both quarterbacks could kind of be held down a little bit. So yeah, I'm lower on Darnold, and he's still, like I said, he's still going to be day to day. Sounds like he's not going to start the week off the injury report either, so still going to be managing pain, I think, heading into this matchup as well. What are we doing for the quarterback prop?
Yeah, so I mean, all the quarterback props are already up. I think we're gonna have to go Stidham here. I think he's the most fascinating player to project this week, specifically his rushing yards. So I want to hear you break this down, what side you're on, but I'm gonna go with 15.5 rushing yards.
Ooh, yeah. Let's see what I got because they're definitely gonna need it, but he's tricky. Let's see. So I have him. Oh, I have him like 16. That's a really good line. I'm gonna go. And Carlton Davis got banged up too, right? Like, he's questionable, I think, because I think that might dictate how much man coverage they play. Oof, that's tough.
Yeah, he's still questionable, so
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone had any
I don't
practices
think
yet.
he was officially put in the concussion protocol.
Okay. It was just like what was it then? It was what was
a
the
head
official
injury. I don't know if it's
Okay.
like a contusion, yeah, but I don't think he's in the concussion protocol, so that's good. But yeah, that's something to worth monitoring.
Yeah, because I would just think if like one of like him or Gonzalez would be out, they would play more zone, which would make it tougher for Stidham to run. But but then again, Sean Payton did just get his quarterback injured running too, so maybe let's see what I got for his scramble rate.
Well, it's not much the past couple of years because he hasn't played. He's just been in there to like kneel down the past couple seasons. His last his 2 starts in 2023, 6 yards and 2 yards, and then the 2 starts in 22 were 34 yards and 50 yards, so pretty wide range of outcomes. And then preseason, if you look at his preseason rates, they're pretty good in terms of scramble rate and picking up yards. But again, he's facing third stringers there, so it's really hard to.
Yeah, I have a scramble rate similar to Nick's.
Yeah.
I will. That's a good line. I'll go over just because. I mean, there's gonna be covered guys, right? There's gonna be covered receivers.
Yeah, they
I
might
think.
be down.
Yeah.
They might be down a couple
Yeah.
receivers too, right? And
Yeah. It's
Gonzalez
tough.
on Sutton sometimes, so yeah, could force him to scramble more than he
That's a
wants
good
to.
line. Yeah, that's a tough one. I was hoping you went passing yards. I would just gone over whatever it was. But rushing yards, that's a little harder.
His prop. I mean, there is a market out there. You don't have to wait for me. It's like 188 or something like that. Are you interested in the over on that?
Yeah, I have him over 200. So remember what I was talking about last week when like everyone was like, "All right, Nico's out for the Texans. They're gonna go super run heavy," and I was like, "I don't know about that because like the Patriots just deter run games. Like that might be the case again, especially after Sean Payton didn't even run with on the Bills, who are one of the worst run, like a bottom 3 run defense.
Yeah,
their running backs had 10 carries, and I think one got called back. Bidet had one, but he got called back. That was it for their like traditional run game. Everything else was Bo Nix, and to the point he got him hurt. So I could see a higher pass rate than I'm like backup quarterbacks usually lead to like take like a few percentage points off the pass rate, but with Sean Payton, I mean, it was so high that even when you factor that in, I think they'd still be above past expectation, right? Do you still have them above, or do you have them right?
Yeah, above. But also, this could be a rare trailing game script for them, which could force the issue. So I'm with you. I have him projected over 200 yards. I might go that route and just hope he doesn't scramble as much. And this isn't like Max Brosmer, where it's like, we're projecting him for 20 yards more than the market. We actually know that Stidham is kind of like your average backup. Brosmer was just kind of a shot in the dark, which, he was awful. But I'm a little more confident that Stidham is a functioning quarterback to where, you're right. Like they won't drop back as much, but they had like the 4th highest pass rate over expected. They're not going to be nearly as pass heavy, but still that's
they might. They
might. It's like even if they drop a little bit in pass rate, they're still going to be above average.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's why it'd be tough to project them for less than 200 in this spot.
Yeah, like I have them like the default, like their baseline pass rate above average, and then because they're going to be projected to trail, because they're an underdog.
Yep.
It's like it gets even higher. But I'm looking at I'm trying to look at the attempts market for him. Let's see.
I think it
31
was
and a
like
half. Yeah, I think
30.
I would go over that. There's still, yeah, there's like some 30s out there. I think there's a 29 and a half out there, but yeah, I still have it at like 34. So yeah, that's another one I'd probably go. Oh, because like you're
Yeah.
also going to get probably some incompletions. That Patriots defense has been a lot better than expected.
That might be a better market because that you don't like if he's inefficient, that actually helps. I'll have to look at his throwaway rate when it comes to pass attempts. I like looking at throwaway rate. A guy throwing the ball away is the best thing you could have happen when you an over and a pass attempt, and a guy not throwing it away is good if you have the under. But I want to check his throwaway rate. But maybe that's the play is his passing attempts to go over.
Yeah, like the market in general, I think is going to be too low on this pass volume. So like all of the above, I would think, because like after seeing Sean Payton hand the ball to backs 10 times, and that was 10 times in an overtime game. Like, that's just like ridiculous. Like, what are you? Like, that's what he gets. That's like karma right there. You get your quarterback hurt on the last designed rush.
That's ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
All right. Excuse me. Running back, top 5. Who we got?
I mean, Kenneth Walker III, and then like 6 or 7 points. RJ Harvey, Kyron Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, and Travion Henderson.
I got Walker Williams, Stevenson, Harvey, Henderson. Yeah, Kyron still, like I said, got to monitor his health because I didn't hear anything about an injury, but he just the way he kind of left the game and then Corum was in on a bunch of plays in OT just has me wondering if he's going to open the week as like with some type of ailment. But for now, I still have him getting his like 63% snap rate.
Yeah, he's not listed, and he is an Iron Man. Ever since they drafted Corum, never missed a drive. Well, maybe. the one you're referring to, but yeah, I don't see anything. He's not listed on the injury report, so I'm guessing he's fine. But that's good to note that he could have been banged up at the end there, so something to monitor at least.
Okay, I think we're both high on the same guys, so you can just kind of get into it.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker III, I mean, just had a massive 19 carry, 116 yard, 3 touchdown game. Also added, 3 catches for 29 yards. Never really adding much in the passing game, but, that's thanks in large part to Zach Charbonnet suffering that just devastating ACL tear. I hate to see that. Charbonnet's week 1 status next year is probably in doubt, just given the timing of this ACL tear. So, again, this is a backfield where either back, if one of them misses time, the other one just has massive upside because both running backs are extremely good. And they split the work pretty much down the middle. So in Sharp's 3-season career so far, he's only missed 2 games. And in those games, the first time, Walker rushed 26 times for 105 yards on the ground. And the other game Charbonnet missed was this year. Walker had 16 carries, 38 yards, so not very efficient, but 2 touchdowns. So the thing is, when Charbonnet's out, Walker's just going to see more volume. He's typically limited when it comes to volume. Going to see more volume and, way more touchdown upside because Charbonnet infamously, vultures some touchdowns away from Walker. I think he's the better goal line back. So just Walker's going to have a massive, massive workload here. And we saw what happens last week when he does get that shot. And that's kind of what I've been saying with someone like Blake Corum, has yet to even have that opportunity. But yeah, Kenneth Walker III, by far the top back this week. His prop market is out of control. I'm in, alignment with it. Like, I think his rush attempt prop is 20.5. Not sure where you have him there, but that sounds about right. Just, Velus Jones Jr., Cam Akers, whoever the hell the backup isn't going to, factor in nearly as much as Charbonnet. So just Walker, already, one of the better backs in the league, and now has a massive, massive workload. So I think people are kind of shocked to see what happens when someone like Walker gets the whole backfield to himself. But that's what happens. And this week, he's going to have the entire backfield to himself. And like I mentioned, his receiving upside as well is much higher this week. So yeah, like if this were a normal week in the season, you would have him like top 3, top 5 at least, probably.
Yeah.
Top 3 maybe. But yeah, this is what happens when somebody that, he splits the workload with is out.
Yeah, so he had 14 of 14 carries, backfield carries after Sharps went down. They were tied at 5, and then Walker got the next 14, and then it was garbage time, and Jones got the last 6. So, like, he's getting somewhere between 80 and 100% of like the backfield carries. So yeah, like that's why the prop is about. I'm having like 19 and a half. I might bump it up, but yeah, I mean, with a third back active, they might maybe the second back mixes in more, but I don't know, maybe not. So
yeah, I was going to ask you, so that you're really good at the tea leaves of actives and actives, practice squad. So what should we be monitoring for when it's like they elevate both Velus Jones Jr. and Cam Akers, right? I'm assuming that'll happen. What should we take away from like both being active versus one of them being, a healthy scratch, or like what do you see out of those two backups?
Well, I think Akers would be more likely to get carries, but they elevated Jones over Akers last week, and Holani, who was the original number 3 back, who won the job out of preseason, he's eligible to return. So I think if he gets activated, that's where I'd have Walker's carries like the most conservative. Like I'd probably have it like 80%, and then Holani would still get like another 10-15. Whereas like if it's just Velus Jones and Cam Akers, I'd have Walker closer to 90%, and those guys filling in the rest. But I think Holani they would trust with maybe an extra snap or 2, extra carry or 2 over those other guys, because that's just kind of how it's been. Like he was the guy that won it, and then they cut who's the guy we liked? Was it Martinez? I think it was Martinez, right? Yeah, they cut him. Yep. They cut him. Holani on the job. They cut Martinez. Jacardia Wright got hurt. He was this other guy. So like Jones and Akers are like 5 and 6 on a depth chart, like in terms of what they were coming into the year. That's why, they would both have to be elevated if Holani's not activated, because they would only have one back otherwise. Like Walker's the only back.
Fullbacks. Yeah, they have like Robbie Oots. You don't want to be giving carries to, but they have those guys just in case. They're not exactly Hunter Lipke types, but they're there. And then
Rashid
Shaheed. I was gonna say
he wears number 20 something, doesn't he? Like he would have to be the backup.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could give him direct carries, but I didn't realize Holani was this close to returning. I know Arroyo is close to returning. He almost did last week, so they have some guys coming back soon. But just curious I know Velus Jones. He used to be a wide receiver, so we'll always imagine him being like a pass catching back, maybe like the DJ Dallas role, and Akers is more of just like the Charbonnet type backup. But they're not gonna trust either as much as Sharps. But Holani is a little bit different. They do kind of treat Holani as like Sharp's backup, so he could factor in more than people realize, at least if he is active.
Yeah, well, they said he's coming off IR this week, so I don't know if that means he's like definitely coming off, or that just means he's like going to start practicing. But given the circumstances, I wouldn't be surprised to see him active this week. Yeah. It's kind of like the Bills with Curtis Samuel. Like they had no choice. Like you got to activate this guy.
Yeah.
And Walker, he saw a 70% pass snap rate. That's a season high, and that was a bunch of that was with Charbonnet still getting a couple of snaps. So. And Walker's caught 3 plus in 4 straight games. So he actually was getting more involved. So this could be like, if the Seahawks only get like 50-ish snaps, this could be 100% type of like Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey wild card type of snap rate for Walker. Who are you low on?
Well, I hate to do this, but I'm low on my guy Blake Corum. So maybe he's gonna go off for 100 yards this week. Yeah. But again, Corum is one of those backs who has massive upside if his running back mate were ever to miss time, but that's never happened. Although, again, you mentioned that Kyron looked like he banged something up, so who knows? But it's kind of clear, and you hinted at this last week, just the deeper we are getting in the playoffs, looks like the Rams want to lean on Kyron a little bit more. There was definitely some drives later in the game where, it was supposed to be Corum's turn, and they left Kyron in there. And this is a game where the Rams are 2.5-point dogs. They could end up in a rare trailing game script. So there just might be less volume overall for these two backs, and it's a brutal matchup. And they might lean on the starter a bit more in Kyren. This is like, I was talking to Stuckey about this on the BBOC last night for the national championship game. Miami had kind of a similar running back rotation, and I had Marty Brown, the backup, under 25.5 rushing yards because I thought they might lean on the starter a little bit more, and that's exactly what happened. He only rushed 3 times for 5 yards, and I was kind of using Blake Corum as an example that that kind of happened last week. So this week I'm going to be a little bit lower, a little bit less optimistic on Blake Corum seeing as much work, just given the game script and how much they were kind of leaning on Kyren later in the game. So hate to do it, but got to be low on my guy Blake Corum.
Yeah, I ended up looking like the asshole because like everyone in action was high on Corum. I was too, but then my only bet on that game ended up being Kyren anytime, and of course I should have bet too.
No one's gonna fault you for betting on the actual starting back, the actual goal line back to score when you can get plus odds on him. But like you had mentioned, the games where Corum scored, usually Kyren also had a touchdown.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That was good for like parlays because again you're gonna get some kind of anti-correlation pricing involved in that. So no, I didn't hit that. And again, my Blake Corum love has nothing to do with Kyren Williams. I think Kyren is the better back right now, and they locked him up for 3 years. So we got to get used to Kyren being the lead back. But I still think Corum is the best backup in the league. But that's obviously to take nothing away from Kyren specifically.
You don't think Charbonnet? Corum over Charbonnet?
Oh, yeah,
or Corum over K9? Over K9? I guess K9 was the backup.
Oh, yeah, I guess K9's a legit backup. But yeah, it goes to show both of these backfields. All that pouring out for my guy Sharbs. Both these backfields have 2 legit, starting caliber running backs, in my opinion.
The funny thing is, in the wild card round, Kyren outsnapped Corum 48-28. And like it didn't, the touches were close, so it didn't seem like it was that big of a margin. In the divisional round, the touches were a lot. Like it was, I think Kyren had over 20 and Corum had under 10. But you know what the snap rate was? 49-29. Like it's the same. It was the exact same.
Well, they love to like just feed Corum when he was on the field. So again, the low snap rate but high usage rate was good because again, I think Corum is the best backup in the league. But last week, if you're watching, like Nick had the over. I wanted Corum to do good and score touchdowns. Anytime it was the Corum drive, they were just airing it out, and it would usually be like a 3 and out, so no momentum. But they were just airing it out on first down. They just weren't using him when he was on the field, and that's kind of why you should look at snap counts because sometimes they could just get an odd amount of rush plays or vice versa. So it is important to kind of look at snap count. Last week, just Corum, they weren't running the ball when he was on the field, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of snap counts, and like, I've already got a headache trying to predict the Denver backfield because like RJ Harvey, like they never run when he's on the field. Like he's like they run like 30% of the time when he's on the field. It's like nuts. But so that is the guy that I'm low on is RJ Harvey, and we're just running it back. Like I said it last week, Willie Marks coming off a big game. You just can't run against New England with Milton Williams. 81 yards per game, 3.7 yards per carry allowed, a 1.3% touchdown rate. In the 5 games without him, 147 yards, a 5.0 yards per carry, and a 4.7 touchdown rate. So it's like a 4x touchdown rate. The yards per game nearly doubles, and the yards per carry goes up 1.3. So it's like when he's in the lineup, they're just giving up nothing. And I think they might be a deterrent. That's in 2 games, the backs have in 2 games against the Patriots, backs have amassed 61 yards on 31 carries with a fumble loss, no touchdowns, under 2 yards a carry. So they're already. Harvey was on the field for 45 snaps. He had 6 carries last week. McLaughlin had 4, and he only played like 10 snaps. He only played 10 snaps exactly. So there's a chance that, like, yes, it should even out, but on the season, McLaughlin gets a carry on 51% of his snaps. Harvey gets a carry on only 30% of his. So it's still like if there's a run heavier game plan, they might just play McLaughlin more snaps too. So like it's like it's like it's not going to even out as much as you would think. Like for the discrepancy to be like 45-10 in snaps. So yeah, it's kind of tough to project him for much of anything this week. I mean, Woody Marks was at like under a yard per carry for most of that game. I don't even know how he got to above 1. I think he had like a 4-yard run late in the game, like a monster 4-yard run. But it was. I mean, 18 for 31 for Houston backs, and then 13 for 30 for Charger backs. They're just not giving up anything with Milton Williams on. And remember, Vrabel's scheme did this with Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee too. Like Milton Williams is just his new Jeffrey Simmons. So they used to give up nothing on the ground. So yeah, this is one where like I think, the market's probably going to be high on Harvey, just like they were Marks, especially with, Stidham, no Knicks to take rushing attempts. I think, but I can't get there. I can't get there with Harvey. He could break a long one, but that's the thing. No one's even broken long ones on the New England. Like it's nothing. And Harvey's been. Yeah, but I saw you last week had Harvey like pretty low yard per carry, right? Like you have him like under 4, right?
Yeah, this is embarrassing because I like to open up the prop tool and just see kind of where I'm way off to see if there's something I'm missing or like a bug or something. And I had like Harvey at 11.2 rush attempts, and the market opened at 14.5, and it was showing like this massive value. And I chickened out. I didn't go there because I was like, how are they not going to run the ball against the Bills? And sure enough, now, what if I were to tell you that the market is once again at 14.5 rush attempts for RJ Harvey?
Oh my God. Yeah. Under. I'm going to bet that when we get off the spot.
Right. Because like you said, he could break a long one, but that market, it doesn't matter. Actually breaking a long one hurts because it kind of takes away, potential couple chain mover type things. But J.K. Dobbins might be back. Right. So yeah. He might not be, but still the fact that he might means you probably want to lock this in earlier.
Full fade.
Marvin Mims.
Full fade. Full fade. Just, yeah. Right? He had 2 backfield snaps. He both passes last week. But yeah.
And McLaughlin looked good. Well, McLaughlin's been the better back the past few weeks. So,
Yeah.
I'd say fading the 14.5 rush attempts.
I'd say fade everything. Like fade the attempts, the yards, the long, like everything, and just like maybe two out of 3 should hit. 2 out of 3 should hit.
Yeah, maybe not his like receiving yards. Maybe that's why you got to take Stidham over pass attempts too. Just kind of like dumping it off to Harvey, would kind of add to his volume and take away from Harvey's rushing. All right, I think I know I'm going for this game this week.
RJ Harvey's averaging like 3.6 yards a carry this year. Like, all the explosiveness. Like this could be another Woody Marks if he doesn't break like a long one.
He kind of reminds me of like Jerome Ford. I think it was like a couple years ago. If you look at his like all of his rushing plays, he had like a 90-yard run, an 80-yard run, and then nothing but like 7, 7, 7, 6, 3. So he had like a 3.9 rushing yard average, but if you take away just like the 2 ridiculously long runs, he was averaging like 1.2 yards a carry. That's kind of Harvey, just like boom bust.
And I think they might be down to their 3rd string center too, because their center got hurt.
Yeah,
and their center was already hurt. Wattenberg was already hurt, and then their center got hurt last week too. So
Forsyth is questionable still.
Yeah, it could get ugly.
Yep.
Okay, so we got. Let's go. I think I'm still gonna go a Harvey prop, but we did maybe. Should I go McLaughlin? Actually, that Patriots backfield. Who's gonna have more carries? I'll make Ramondre Stevenson a half carry favorite.
Over who?
Travion.
Oh.
Actually, no. Let's go 1.5. Oh, let's go 1.5. 1.5.
I'll still take Mondre.
Okay. Yeah, I have it at like 1. No, I have it at I think 2. Let me see.
Yeah, I have it like 2. So yeah,
Yeah,
slight
2.
edge to Mondre.
Yeah,
Slight
Market
edge.
has it like more like 3, 2.5, 3-ish. But it's like, remember, Henderson had like 10 carries and Stevenson had like 3 at one point in the game. I think Stevenson got like the last
Well, yeah,
14 carries.
Stevenson got like poked in the eye. He was like on the sideline trying to get his vision back,
Yeah.
and then he came in later. So I think that he missed 50% of the game due to a temporary injury. Like his eye's fine now, but I mean he's been playing well the past few weeks. So yeah, I'll take Stevenson. I mean I would smash the half attempt prop,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
one
no,
and a
that was
half I'm
too
much closer
yeah.
to. But that's still I'll still lean Mondre.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's because like it's tough because like it's kind of like Henderson has been the guy that's led in more games, but Stevenson's just been better lately too. So that's the other thing. Like
Yeah.
coming into the game, it was hard to give Stevenson like a big edge, but now, yeah, I think 2 is fair.
Right.
Okay, wide receiver top 5. Who we got?
JSN, Puka, Devontae, Diggs, Sutton. I'd be shocked if we don't have the same top 5.
I got Diggs ahead of Adams just because like the Seahawks, they just don't really give up much to wide receivers. So it's like I still think I'd rather have the number 1 against Denver than the number 2 against Seattle. He had like 1 catch in that last in the only game he played against Seattle. So yeah, I have Adams 4 and Diggs, but same top 5 otherwise. JSN, Puka, Diggs, Adams, Sutton. Who you high on?
I'm high on Marvin Mims because Pat Bryant suffered that concussion where that's his second one in just a few weeks, right? I know he had to go to the hospital after that one late in the game against the Jaguars. That was a bad one. So the fact that he has another one now, I'd say he's closer to doubtful. And then Troy Franklin, not sure what's up with the hamstring injury, so have to monitor that. But Mims himself, also, he got checked for concussion early on. Yep. He also slammed into the back of the camera. That looked painful, but he was able to play through. Whew, that looked like it hurt. Wasn't that on his touchdown?
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to come back in the game. When he drew that PI, I was like, wait, what the hell?
The fact that was a drive-ending play, the touchdown, meant he could come back in. But, like, he needed probably 5 minutes to recover from that, and then he was okay. But, yeah, he ended up having a massive game, 8 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. So I think they're going to need him to step up again, with potentially 1 or 2 of these wide receivers also out. And Cortland Sutton could face a ton of Christian Gonzalez here, could open things up even more for Mims. And like we said, Denver, even though Stidham's taking over, still could be pass heavy, could be a trailing game script where they have to throw more anyway. And Mims could see design carries. Like he was, what was he, like a top 20, top 30 wide receiver at the end of last season in fantasy. So we've seen stretches of him going off. So I think with the added usage this week, coming off the big game, like he's my wide receiver 8 to open the week, but a player whose needle is, heading up into this week, and for good reason.
Yeah, and I mean, they technically been practicing together probably all year because Mims has been on the second team.
True.
He hasn't been a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm high on Kayshon Boutte. Denver, top 5 against wide receiver 1. So, Diggs still going to see some that Pat Surtain coverage. Yeah, that would be a good matchup, but still think they'll probably want to look Kayshon's way a little more. They're just 13th against number 2 wide receivers. They give up the 6th most scheduled adjusted targets to number 2 wide receivers, and they play a lot of man, top 5 man rate. And Boutte is tied for first on the Patriots with 4 touchdowns against man coverage. So he's probably going to be a low percentage route runner type of player again, but I think he could pop for a big play or 2 in this matchup again. Who you low on?
I'm on Rashid Shaheed, who is coming off another game where he had a 95-yard kickoff return touchdown to open the game. He had a punt return touchdown week 16, kick return touchdown week 14. All amazing stuff that only Rashid Shaheed could do. But as a wide receiver, hasn't been doing shit. 2 catches for 10 yards over the last 4 games.
Wow.
3 rushes for 58 yards, though. But, last week he had a 63% routes run rate. They did throw it to him twice downfield, didn't catch either. But we saw like Jake Bobo saw an increase in routes. He made that, really good first down catch, right? So we could see more Bobo. We could see Arroyo return this week. So maybe more 2 tight end sets, maybe go away from, 1-1 personnel. Just a lot of things kind of going against Shaheed as a pass catcher. He's had a really low target rate in this offense. So when you look at his like season long stats, like when he was on the Saints, he was the number 2 receiver most of the time. So just it's a really stark, split now having to like watch JSN rack up a bunch of targets, Cooper Kupp, so really low on Shaheed when it comes to receiving props. His props like 26.5 yards. His receptions prop is 2.5. Under's like -180, but probably be in the -200s. So just interested in fading his, receiving output. And he also, we can't count on like a special teams touchdown every week. So for like DFS, things like that, I think he's just much more likely to finish closer to his floor one of these weeks. So just lower on Shaheed, despite, his ability to score from anywhere on the field. He just hasn't been seeing the usage you kind of want to see from a, pass catcher point of view.
Yeah, I have him 1.7 for 24. Like his averages.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I would be under that easily. I know. Yeah, he's just been like a 10% target per route type of guy in this offense, and I think Darnold, he's just not throwing deep as much. I don't know if it's the injury or just like he just knows his defense is really good, but yeah, it's just they try to take a shot here and there, but if I think the volume, like going under that catches, makes a lot of sense. I am low on Sutton. New England is 31st in DVOA against number 1 receivers, but like if you look deeper, like it's really they just haven't allowed many targets to number 1s. Period. Just 5.9 schedule adjusted targets to number 1 wide receivers per FTN, and that's second fewest in the league. Christian Gonzalez this year allowing just a 44.8% catch rate, 9.9 yards per catch, 1 touchdown all year, 61.8 passer rating per PFF. So he's going to see a lot of him, and now you're talking about a backup quarterback. So yeah, I think Mims, all those other guys, you're probably going to have Sean Payton probably will scheme other guys open, because I think especially if Davis is banged up or out, like Sutton, Sutton's going to get Gonzalez, and then somebody else is going to have a matchup somewhere. So yeah, Sutton, I'm low on Sutton just for a number of reasons. What are we doing for the wide receiver prop?
Yeah, so again, every prop market's already out this week. So let's get creative here. I have a fun one for you. I'm not sure what the correct answer is, but what will be greater? This is a rushing yard prop for wide receivers. What will be greater? Total rushing yards combined of Rashid Shaheed, Puka Nacua, and Marvin Mims Jr. Versus, like any of these backs, I don't know who the hell's playing, Velus Jones Jr., Cam Akers, George Holani combined.
Rushing yards. Oh, the receivers. I'll go.
The receivers? Okay.
Yeah, because I think those guys might combine for like, it's very, like probably they combine for like less than 2 carries, or like 2 exactly. Like Holani might get 2 or 3, maybe 3, but I would think each of those receivers would be good for 1 carry. And even if not, like you said, Shaheed, I mean, when he gets one, he's been going off. Puka usually could get multiple carries. Yeah, definitely want to go to the receivers, I think.
Yeah.
That is a fun one, though, because, I mean...
That's probably... I think to make it... I think you beat me on that one. I think the way to make that better is the highest yardage of, I guess, both props. Like, whoever gets the highest yardage out of Shaheed, Puka, Mims, versus whoever ends up getting the highest yardage out of the 3 Seattle backs would be closer. But the fact that you're kind of getting all 3 receivers combined versus, it'll probably be like one of those Seattle backs actually ends up getting carries. That's probably why.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's not Holani, I mean, it could be 0. It could definitely be 0 if it's not Holani. So like that's what I was kind of that's what I'm kind of banking on, because I don't think he's guaranteed to come back. But even if he is, I mean, he probably gets like 2 to 4, median of 3, and I'd say these receivers combined have a median of 3 as well. And usually receivers get more yards per than running backs a little bit. So
yeah, wider range of outcomes for sure.
Yeah. But Puka ain't getting taken down for no losses. It's Puka.
That is true. Yeah, Puka's like the high floor of this group, where he's probably going to get a handful of yards. Whereas Shaheed, he might not even get a carry, but if he does, it might go for 20+ yards. So, yeah, I'm probably screwed on this one. Oh well.
And I would think with Sharps out, Shaheed is more likely to get multiple carries, right? Like he could just be their second, like even if he's not playing running back, just. And then same thing with like Mims, probably more likely to get carries with Bo Nix out. Like I think I like this either way.
I'm interested in just kind of laddering one of these receiver rushing props. Maybe not Puka, that's too obvious. But yeah, maybe Mims. They're floating like 10+ rushing yards at 5-1 or something like that. Or Shaheed.
Well, I think Mims actually is tricky because if both receivers are out, he plays more receiver, less running back.
Oh. Yeah, that's true.
But
I guess Shaheed would be the one that
Yeah. Because I'm looking at the market has Puka at 1.5 carries with a +160 to the over. And they don't have a Shaheed. Let's see, do they have a Shaheed?
Shaheed is up at like some of the the DFS sites.
They have him for yards. Oh yeah, like a half a yard. Yeah.
Which again,
and Mims too.
Like with those, I'm not interested so much in betting on like Shaheed median props. Mm-hmm. He might not get a carry, but like some sites offer like alt yards where you could take like 10+ rushing yards for 6-1. Those are what I'm interested in. Where if he gets a 0, so be it. But if he does get a carry or two, he could easily clear that. So I'm more interested in like the wider range of outcome markets than like the median.
Definitely.
It's tricky to project. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say he's got about 4% of the backfield carries just since he joined the team. So I would think he gets a carry, more likely than not anyway, that he gets a carry at least. Okay, tight end top 5.
Oh man, what a brutal week. I haven't even looked. Do I have 3 Rams in my top 5? Okay, let's see. Hunter Henry, AJ Barner, Colby Parkinson, Evan Ingram, and Tyler Higbee.
I got Henry, Barner, Parkinson, Ingram, Ferguson.
Makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, I don't know what was going on. Like Ferguson just played a lot more than Higbee last week somehow for some reason.
No clue.
So, McVay's been weird again, but who are you high on?
I'm high on Hunter Henry. It's a weak tight end slate, or weaker, I should say. So he's the clear number 1. Seattle and Rams, they're very tough to project right now, especially if like Arroyo returns this week. I'll talk about the Rams next segment, but even Denver's room is murky. Despite even if they're down a couple receivers, they still might cap Ingram at like a 50% routes run rate and just use Nate Atkins more. Who the hell knows?
Lucas Crow is also he's been practicing. His window opened last week.
Oh my! Are you kidding me?
He's not officially back, but his window opened last week, so he could be activated this week, and he would be like the direct Ingram replacement.
Yeah, and what wasn't like Prentice getting some targets last week? If I remember, he was doing something. But but who has zero uncertainty this week? Hunter freaking Henry, 82% routes run rate last week. I think that was the second highest of the season. So they're not messing around. They're using him a lot more. And I guess, Mac Hollins might return this week. So the wide receiver room could be very tricky to project. But again, that doesn't really impact Henry. And Denver's been pretty vulnerable to tight ends lately. They allowed Kincaid had a big game, 6 catches, 83 yards, a touchdown. Brenton Strange, Luke Musgrave, Zach Ertz all had big games against them just, in the last month or two. So Henry could be kind of sneaky this week, and the clear tight end one this week, just based on this slate.
Yeah, I actually don't think Mac will be back this week. It sounds like he'll be out at least one more week, so that's actually good for Henry because I think Mac would command like, in place of like a Kyle Williams, Mac Hollins' target rate would be a lot higher.
Yeah, true.
I like how Dalton Schultz still won that Henry versus Schultz, even though he got hurt. Henry played the entire game. 2 yards.
Well, I mean,
Schultz, no, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards.
Schultz,
Sorry.
like the first pass of the game was like a 40-yard banger, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, he got like 2 catches for like 40 something.
He always gets off to hot starts.
Yeah, and then CJ Stroud happened, and then injuries happened.
Yeah. Good Lord.
All right. Tight end. Yeah, it's tough at tight end. The guy I'm high on is Terrence Ferguson, just because, I mean, he was hurt and then he came back and he played 23 snaps. Davis Allen played 9 and Tyler Higbee played 8. So I don't know if that for sure continues at that rate. You know, there was a lot of, as I mentioned, 2-minute hurry up, things like that, you know, weight down type of plays where Ferguson's usually in on more. So it could kind of go back to the mean a little bit, but still, the fact that he was the clear number 2 tight end, and they targeted him, I believe, on the last play of overtime before they kicked, right? I think it was Parkinson got a target, and then Ferguson got a target, and then they kicked. So yeah. So like he's in the plan, I think, for some way somehow. Seattle 16th in DVOA against tight ends, but they give up 64.2 schedule adjusted yards per game to tight ends per FT, and that's most of any position. They only give up 40 to wide receiver 1, 41 to wide receiver 2, 37 to wide receiver 3, and 38 to running back. So like 64, that's like massive compared to those others in terms of the share. So yeah, you could see the Rams tight ends maybe pop a little bit more than the last couple of weeks in this one, and Ferguson played more snaps than the 2 tight ends after him combined last week. So I'm high on him. Who you low on?
Yeah, for that same reason, I'm low on Tyler Higbee because, McVay threw that curveball where we didn't see as many tight end heavy looks, but, Higbee's routes run rate was 17%, by far season low in a game that he's played, I should say. I didn't see anything about an injury. It's kind of like what you said, like just Terrence Ferguson was the guy. And Parkinson, still led the team in routes run rate. So, really just bizarre usage. Maybe Higbee bounces back this week. Anything's possible with McVay, but I mean, if this usage remains anywhere close to this, I'm going to be much lower on Higbee. And yeah, it's just tricky to project Rams tight ends right now. I think right now it's just Parkinson and Ferguson, and then Higbee's kind of the third tight end, and then Allen was completely out of the rotation, it seemed like. So much lower on Higbee this week than I was, entering the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Allen actually played 1 more snap than Higbee. So it's just that routes run, pass snaps, he only played 2. So
yeah, Higbee didn't block at all. I mean, Higbee's not out there to block. So yeah, maybe that's why just Higbee's being phased out, right? And Ferguson, we were high on him. He's a very talented rookie. Usually McVay is very careful with rookies, doesn't lean on him. So I was kind of surprised to see them turn to Ferguson like that, especially coming off injury. But I think that could be here to stay if he was willing to lean on Ferguson in that high leverage situation. I would imagine that's pretty sticky heading into this week.
Yeah, it's tough. Because by the same token, Ferguson had 5 targets and caught 1. So we could just see Higbee. I don't know.
That's kind of his. Usually he's just getting low percentage downfield bombs, but I need to see what
that's
his
a good question.
And
let's see.
Field is kind of the conditions were poor to say the least. Everybody was dropping passes, so
his ADOT was 17.8. Yeah, pretty. I mean, that's pretty standard for him. His season average 18.6. So yeah.
Yeah, so you could forgive him with the lower.
Oh no! Sorry, that's 16.8. I gave him an extra yard. 16.8 ADOT. 16.
Still pretty deep.
yeah. But yeah, I'm low on Davis Allen. I mean, just Davis Allen. I mean, because he played 9 snaps, but he ran only 1 route, so he was blocking. I think it's if they get in the red zone, there's a chance he could catch a touchdown, like 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown, or something like that. But if it's another close game and they're more third downs than usual, more hurry up than usual, it'll probably be Ferguson. It will probably be the same kind of snap rate as last week. I'm still low on Allen because compared to the last pretty much the entire season, he's been good for, about a 20% route run rate. So for him to run just one route and play 2 pass snaps, I mean, regardless of what packages he's in on, that's not good in the most important game of the year. So yeah, unless Ferguson just gets punished for like Hitler, it's like, all right, Stafford, like we don't need you just chucking it downfield to Ferguson. Let's get you. I mean, they were also chucking it to like Jordan Whittington. It was a weird game. Yeah. But yeah, well on Davis now. Tight end prop. I guess we gotta go with some Rams here. I'm trying to figure out. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Ferguson versus Higbee. I'll make Ferguson a 2.5 yard favorite.
Ooh, yeah, that's tricky. That such a wide range of outcomes. I'd say Higbee's more likely to catch 2 passes, but Ferguson would smoke him if he does. I'm gonna go Higbee here, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I kind of was hoping you'd go Higbee.
Yeah,
it's because it's like Ferguson did get 5 targets and only caught, like if he's used it anywhere near the same way, he should. But then, like you said, it could bounce back too. So
yeah,
it's tough. But yeah, I think I want you on the Higbee side. I mean, I don't know what, like 8. He played the 4th. He was like the 4th tight end in actual just snaps, which is nuts.
And you haven't heard anything about like an injury or his eye contact fell out and they couldn't find, like nothing like that. Just a mystery.
Yeah. I mean, it was cold. That's the only thing I can think. It was cold. He's been hurt. I don't know. I mean, it seemed odd to me. I thought he was trending up, not down. But it's McVay, so I mean, this week it could be Davis Allen getting like is a tight end 2 or something. The only constant has been Parkinson, which makes sense. But you probably gotta be a little conservative with the recency, but still, it's tough to trust a guy who played 8 snaps last week.
Yeah, and like Whittington and Mumfield both have it over 50%, and then like Tutu was a healthy scratch, and Smith just 4%. Maybe he just didn't need Smith like a decoy downfield threat for that weather game, so who knows? He could mix. He could go right back to usual this week. I wait like the last game as for like the order, but like I'm still giving Smith more than like 4%. Like it's kind of do like a more uniform decay. Like it's like, all right, the wide receiver 3 will get like 50 30 10 or something, like, you know what I mean, something like that, just to like even it out a little. Well, that's a great point. We're at the end. Only the diehards are listening still anyway. What I have 25% for Smith. Is that kind of where you settled at?
No, I have him lower than that. I actually have Whittington 40, Mumfield 30, Smith 15. So Smith essentially getting half of the wide receiver 4, which Mumfield was at 30. I think that makes sense because like Puka and Devontae have been like 85, 90. So like if they're not using like a lot of 1-3, you figure Smith is kind of essentially like gonna play those other snaps where like, one of those. Yeah, so I mean it's tough though. Like I could 25 is reasonable if you just take his average of the 2 playoff games, but I'm still waiting for I'm making him the wide receiver 5 and then just kind of looking at like the season long wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 shares. And kind of doing it that way. So yeah, I got him at 15. But how many routes run do you have the wide receivers of the Rams? That is the question. Or tight ends, because I got them at 1.15 combined, like essentially per drop back. Is that around where you have it?
Right now 1.2 ish.
Oh, okay, so you have a little higher. Okay, yeah. And then the wide receivers around 2.6 ish, 2.5, 2.5 and a half,
2.6, and then Kyron and Corum just staying in the block and not seeing targets.
Yeah, around they get 70-ish combined.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really tough to project. I think the wide receivers is like with Adams in, they've been around 2.6. So that's kind of what I'm starting. Yep. That's my starting point with that. But it's I don't know. Like this is like I feel like there's some like upside for like a touchdown from Higbee or Allen, especially if the market kind of weights the recency even more than we are, because Ferguson's like more of like a third down hurry up guy. So like if I expect the Seahawks to win this game, Rams have just been so like they've been traveling so much. But if the Rams are in a good game script, Ferguson probably would go down. So that's something to note. All right, enough Rams tight end talk. That's going to do it for our NFL Conference Championship player projections episode here on the Fantasy Flex. Be sure to subscribe to the pod so you don't miss an episode. Rest of the playoffs, Super Bowl will be up next in a couple of weeks. Also, don't forget to check out the Fantasy Labs app for all of our player projections. You can use code FLEX20 for $20 off an NFL sub. We'll be back with our favorite touchdown scores over on the Action Network podcast with Joe Gallant later in the week. You can find Sean on X at @_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until next time, let's get this money.